Miscellaneous minds, never explaining the minds. Devilish grin for my alias, aliens who respond. Peddling sin, thinking maybe when you get old you realize I'm not gonna fold or demise. I don't smoke crack, motherfucker, I sell it.
What is going on, everybody? This is the Miscellaneous Minds podcast. I'm your co-host, Boom. My God, throw that cat the hands of your knockout power back. Head to my left to raise the main man, Sister Nero, the man that makes the fat stacks. Together we form the dynamic duo that won't die. Deadly ideas, run, spice your content to your girls' only fans.
What is going on, everybody? Before we get into tonight's topic, please make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and listen. I look at the statistics. 94% of you are not subscribed. Y'all watching our videos, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Tell your friends about us. We are a small podcast, but we're looking to grow. Plus, on top of that, one of the things that I wanted to address is I'm personally going to be doing a giveaway. When we get to 100 subscribers, I'm going to pick one of my subscribers. I'll do the contest live. I'll make sure to pick one of you guys' names, and I'm going to send you $100. When it gets to 1,000, I'm going to give you guys $1,000, and so on and so forth. At a certain point, I'm going to stop because I ain't no goddamn millionaire, but I want to make sure that you guys get that money, so please make sure to send us to your friends. Subscribe so you can get a chance at that money. And I'll be doing future contests where I'll be doing future giveaways. And with that, let's get right into it.
Can I be a part of that giveaway or no?
No, you can't. So, very recently, Canelo took on Jermell Charlo. And as we all know, he had a dominant fight out there. He basically won every round. You can make argument for maybe 1 or 2 rounds at max for Charlo. But regardless, we've already talked about that. We're here to talk about something separate. So, my man tells me here, I didn't see the interview myself, but my man here tells me that David Benavidez' father, senior, said that he believes that because Canelo did not knock out Charlo, the power is fading. I wanted to address not just that, but a couple of other things that I did see from people, such as Mayweather, a couple of the different boxing correspondents, some of the extremely biased boxing commentators on YouTube with some of this. Listen. Canelo is 33 years old. Canelo is getting on in years. To a certain degree, do I believe he may be fading? Sure. It happens to every single boxer. I don't have a problem with the thought that he may be fading. Not a problem with that at all. What I do have a problem with is it seems all these people are the people that want it to happen. That's what if I were to see these takes from some truly unbiased people, I wouldn't have a problem with it. And even more so, what I have a problem with is not just the aspect of who it's coming from, but they seem almost giddy. They seem almost excited that it might be fading. Let me give you an example of one where Teddy Atlas. I'm just gonna say it. Teddy Atlas. I watched his take before the fight, and then I watched his take after. He went on a tirade on the after one, basically mocking all the people that were standing up for Canelo, saying, look, you said he was going to lose. Or no, not that you said he was going to lose. You said he wasn't going to look great out there, that he's fading, so on and so forth. And he basically mocked a bunch of people saying, you guys got me. How could I not see the greatness? This man, they should build a monument to this man. They should rebuild the Hall of Fame solely for Canelo. Basically being sarcastic, so on and so forth. Listen, what's wrong with just coming out and saying, hey, look, I was wrong. It happens. I've done it. I'm a proud man. I'm willing to say sometimes, fuck up. I make mistakes. I'm wrong about certain things. In our take of the fight, go back and watch the video, I gave Charlo about a 20% chance of winning. Now, reviewing what happened after the fight, I was dead wrong. He didn't stand no chance. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful, because I like Charlo. I think he's a great boxer. I'll be honest with you. My personal take on that particular scenario is I think once he got in there and he felt Canelo's power, I think he was hesitant because he himself said it after the fight. I was proud that I didn't get knocked out like everybody else. But again, he went down in the 7th round. So he felt the power. So my personal belief is he got in there, he felt the power, and once he felt the power, he's like, oh shit, I might get knocked out. And he did everything in his power to avoid that happening. As you guys saw, he didn't engage all that much. Very rarely did he fire back. And again, if you fire back, what happens? You leave yourself open, and the chance of you getting knocked out is there. So I think that's what happened. That's my personal opinion. So So when I see people like Teddy Atlas coming out here and, again, you don't have to kiss the man's ass. I'm not saying go kiss Canelo's ass. I think there's a lot of things where I personally feel like Canelo's game has been exploited. I'll even say there's times where I think he lost where he got the dub. I have no problem admitting that the man is not the greatest boxer of all time. Where I have a problem with is where people aren't humble. And see, that's where this biases come in. There's a lot of boxing channels on here, on YouTube, that are explicitly biased. I'm not going to say why, but they're explicitly biased. There's a lot of commentators that make really stupid takes just because, they want to see him lose. And listen, there's nothing wrong with losing. If let's say Charlo would have beat him, I would say, hey, look, Charlo is an undisputed champion. Charlo is a great fighter. He clearly dominated his division for a reason. You can't have it both ways. You can't say Canelo's cherry picking Charlo, while at the same time saying, well, Charlo's a beast. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, oh, Canelo's fading, and then also say, he had a dominant performance, because that's what he did. And a lot of you had to, suck on some sour grapes because he dominated the fight, where a lot of people, a lot of you guys, a lot of you YouTube boxing commentators were saying he's going to get dominated, he's going to get outboxed, he's going to, Charlo's going to move too well, blah, 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 blah. Listen, Canelo said it before. It's one thing to say when you're outside, and someone even pulled up the clip on ESPN. Shout out to ESPN for doing this. Where I don't remember what fight Jermel was watching Canelo, and he's like, I could beat that motherfucker. I could beat them. What happened? It's way different being in the ring with the motherfucker. And listen, again, I like Jermel. Jermel's a cool motherfucker. I think he deserves all the 4 belts that he has, and unfortunately he doesn't have all 4 anymore. But he deserved all the belts that he had. He had 2 great fights against Castano. I'll be honest with you, I gave it to Castano the first time, but the second time, fucking Jermel did his thing. But with that being said, listen, I just have, it's like everybody wants to see this man go down. And look, I'll give you a prime example of something where I can understand you guys, but as an adult, I grew out of it. When I was young, I used to watch boxing with my father. And the only times that I personally tuned into a Mayweather fight was when I believed he could lose. And I tuned into the motherfuckers. Because at that time, I wanted that motherfucker to lose. I hated who he was. Once I matured a little bit, I'm like, yo, this motherfucker is great. He's great at what he does. Like him or love him, he's a great fucking boxer. He's very smart. He adjusts very well in the fucking ring. He is one of the all-time greats. So my question is, you grown-ass men, if as a child I was doing that, understandable, I was immature, I was a fucking idiot. But if as a grown man, I can come and say, hey, look, this motherfucker's great. He deserves to get to where I don't believe all 50 wins were great. I'm not going to give him no credit for beating a McGregor. But regardless, he's a great boxer. So my question is, why can't y'all do some shit like that? Why can't y'all grow up? Listen, call it down the middle. Stop being so fucking biased. Is the power fading? Again, he's getting older. I wouldn't doubt it. A lot of big heavyweight fighters, I would say, the last thing to go is a power. So I have a little bit of skepticism. Maybe his footwork might not be as great as it once was. Maybe, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. You want, you can call out whatever you want. I have no problem with that. But don't be biased about it, Teddy Atlas. Suck on some sour grapes, my man. Suck it up. Just be like, I'm sorry. I was wrong. It's that simple. It happens. It'll happen to me. I'm sure one of these days, we're going to be doing a lot of fight predictions. I'm sure I'll be wrong. In fact, I think I have been wrong. I think I called Aljo winning against Sugar Sean. I was wrong. That simple. I was wrong. Doesn't have to be any bigger than that. I was wrong. It happens. Happens to the best of us. Who hasn't made a wrong prediction? Regardless. Is the power fading? Sure. The footwork? Maybe, sure. A number of different things could be fading. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with the takes. Let's just keep it unbiased, y'all. Let's be honest about these things. Let's call it down the middle. What do you think about that, my man?
I think with the comment by Jose Benavidez Sr. about, okay, his power is fading. I was like, yes, but this fight wasn't exactly the best exhibition of Canelo. Look at it in this way, and building on your Floyd Mayweather, for example. Floyd Mayweather didn't exactly go into his fights looking for a knockout. He wanted a dub. That is all he wanted to do. He wanted to go on the scorecards. And when somebody asked him on a career retrospective, why didn't he go for knockouts more? He said, well, what's the smarter option, for me to go all out or for me to win and get paid? And let's be honest,
talk to anybody about a job. Tell them, okay, for sure you're gonna get paid. Let's say, I don't know. I'll throw a bullshit number. Let's say you're gonna get 40K. 40K for the year. That is a flat rate. You're not going to get anything more. You're not going to get anything less. Now, that being said, would you do anything extra? It's not going to guarantee you any more pay. It's not going to guarantee you any more praise from the boss. No, for sure, you were getting 40K for the year. Would you do anything more? And if you say no, or if you say yes to that, you're an idiot. And even Floyd Mayweather said, look, I already know I'm going to get paid. I already know I'm getting top dollar for this. I'm the marquee star. Why would I do anything more? If I get the KO, cool. I'm not aiming for that. But if I get it, that'd be cool. But that's not what I'm trying to go for. I'm trying to get the dub and make sure that my name is top of the billing. Now, for this, Jermell Charlo wasn't giving Canelo any sort of pressure whatsoever. If he wasn't giving him any sort of pressure whatsoever, why would Canelo go all out for that? I understand the criticism, like, okay, he's not showing his best. I was like, he didn't need to. He didn't need to. He was winning on all the scorecards. And even Terrence Crawford was criticizing Jermell Charlo for being inactive during the entire fight. The only person that I think can give valid criticism on power would be Dimitri Bivol, which again, Canelo was going up in weight. Obviously, he wasn't gonna be used to like the speed of putting on that much weight. He was outclassed in that. There was outclassed in that. There was no argument against that. And the other person I can see that can make a full argument of that is Triple G. But Triple G has a hell of a freaking chin. For him to say, okay, his power's not there, he has claim to that. He's not. He took so many power shots from Canelo Alvarez, and he's like, he ate him for breakfast. He didn't win. Or at least he didn't win the second round or the second fight. But he didn't get knocked down. That's the important part. He out of all the fighters can have claim to say Canelo Alvarez's power isn't that great. He has a freak fucking chin for him to back up that claim. I mean, look at freaking look at Caleb Plant, look at Billy Joe Saunders, look at Liam Smith. All you tell me if they don't think that Canelo Alvarez doesn't have any power. Billy Joe Saunders had a broken orbital bone. Liam Smith got knocked out by a gut punch. Caleb Plant was seeing stars. You cannot tell me that Canelo Alvarez does not have any power. These are like his most recent like high profile matches too. This is during the last 2 years. And you say, oh, his power is fading. Based on what? Those are the craziest fights that I've seen so much damage. And look, I can see some criticism from I think one of the crazier criticism that I've seen about Canelo Alvarez was that, oh, he doesn't box like a Mexican. And for anybody that isn't in the know, the term boxing like a Mexican is going super in close and going all out, which Canelo Alvarez doesn't do that, or at least he doesn't do it anymore. He might have done that before, but he's more dissective. He likes to pick his spots. He picks his spots pretty hard, but he doesn't go in super all out. He goes in, does a couple of power shots, and then hops out. And he goes in and picks his moments. And that's why most of his knockouts usually come like sometime after the 8th round. After the 8th round, that's when you start to see sparks fly. You can say anything you want about Canelo Alvarez, whether he was inactive in his last fight against, again, Jermell Charlo, but you cannot tell me for one goddamn second that he does not have any power whatsoever. Look at his past fights beyond the Jermell Charlo fight. You will see this man does truly have power. It doesn't showcase in the first 5 rounds, I'll give you that, but he's not that kind of fighter. For you to say he doesn't have any power whatsoever is a disingenuous argument. Granted, Benavidez could be selling the fight because, again, Dave Benavidez did call out Canelo Alvarez. So again, he could be calling out a fight. He could be genuine in his comments in saying he doesn't think Canelo Alvarez truly doesn't have power. I don't know. They're both very, very valid theories to point out. He could be selling the fight, or he really could be talking bad about Canelo because he really thinks this man doesn't have it anymore. I couldn't tell you what he's thinking. I think it's a little bit of both. But to say that he doesn't have any power left in the tank, hugely disingenuous argument. That's what I think is very bullshit about that quote. Again, he could be selling the fight. He could be saying that as a real quote. I don't know. I think still it's a disingenuous argument. Listen, a lot of the boxing commentators that were making that similar argument before the Charlo fight were saying it knowing that Canelo said, look, my last 2 fights I fought with an injury. which fighter that has admitted before fighting, I've been injured, has shown a spectacular performance. I'm sure there's some, but not everybody. It affects people differently. So when people make those types of comments, it's like, look, listen, you got to take everything into consideration. If the man tells you, look, my right hand was hurt, my left hand was hurt, whatever it may be, of course he's not going to be as strong. Of course it's not going to be all there. Of course the power might fade a little bit. But I'm not going to lie, he looked great. Now, you might say he looked great in his fight against Charlo because Charlo didn't do anything. That's a good argument to make. I have no problem with that argument. But is it Canelo's fault that Charlo didn't do anything? No, the fuck it's not. So here's the thing. I have no problem with Jose Benavidez Sr. making the comments. He's trying to get a fight, for his son. And here's the thing. Before anyone jumps off, I'm a big fucking fan of fucking David Benavidez. I fuck with him hard. He is a fucking beast of a fucking fighter. He has flaws just like every other boxer, but I think he's a great boxer. And when that fight comes, I'm going to be split on who I think is going to win, and I'm going to be split on who I actually want to win. Regardless, the boxing commentators is who I have a problem with making these arguments because you guys all knew. You guys knew that he, had been hurt in his previous 2 fights. And again, from what I saw, and I believe a couple people commented on it, there was talk of Canelo gasses out fast. He gasses out, later on. That man did not sit down the entire goddamn fight. And don't get me wrong. I know if people are saying, hey, your gas tank is weak, you might have a little bit extra incentive to show them otherwise. And he showed you guys otherwise. Maybe he was putting on a show, whatever it may be. But listen, he looked dominant. No one's making the argument that he didn't dominate the fight. I'm just asking for a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for here? Where you kind of dissect it a little bit more. You're a little bit more introspective on what's going on. Don't be as biased as you guys clearly have been. I'm a fan of boxing in general. I like Bud Crawford. I think he deserves to be pound for pound. I fuck hard with Tank Davis. Canelo's, top dog for me. David Benavidez. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I fuck with Caleb Plant. I think dude's got a lot of heart. I'll even say this. I'm not a big fan of Ryan Garcia, but I will give him sole respect to kicking off all the big major fights. Him and Tank Davis getting it on. Right after that, everybody else started making big fights right after that. So I will give him complete and sole respect for being the one that kicked it off. And the reason I'm not giving it to Tank is because Ryan Garcia gave up everything to make that fight happen. Tank got everything he wanted out of that fight. So that's why I'm giving it to Ryan. He's the one that really made it happen because he's the one that said, I will do whatever to make this fight happen. So I'm not a big fan of Ryan Garcia, but I will give him sole respect and I will give him his due that once he did it, everyone else had to do it. After he and Tank got it on, fucking Bud and Errol got it on. This Charlo thing with Canelo got on. There was a number of big fights that happened right after that fight happened. So I credit him as the individual that made everyone else, okay, if they're going to do it, we're going to do it. Now, with that being said, again, let's start calling it down the middle. Let's be unbiased in our predictions. Let's be unbiased in our discussions. Let's be honest about what's going on. Again, every single fighter fades. I don't think Canelo's old to the point where I feel like he's starting to fade. I feel like going into 34, going into 35, going into 36, I do believe very highly that that's when I will start to see him fade. And here's the thing. I'm admitting right now, I could be wrong. He might be stronger than ever at that time. But that's when I personally believe that for a boxer, I believe I start to see them fade. Now, with that being said, do I think his power's fading? Not really. He was hurt in his previous 2 fights, so obviously wasn't there. Again, Charlo didn't want to give him any chance to get knocked out because, let's be honest, if you go out on a decision, it's not that embarrassing. You made it to the end. You lost the fight, whatever. If you get knocked out, it hurts the ego a little bit. So with that being said, listen, let's just be unbiased. Let's call it down the middle. Let's be fair to everybody. All fighters, doesn't matter where they come from, who they are. Let's just be unbiased and let's call it down the middle. Anything else you want to add to that, my man?
Nah, I think I got everything out.
With that, like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and
until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you on the next one.